So talking about manufacturing, we know that SAP Business One comes with a production solution. So we have a production solution integrated. That's good. And it's already pretty strong. For lightweight production, it is already pretty good. We have an MRP, we can do production requests, we have a resource master data in there. So we are already pretty good in standard SAP production for easy cases. Whenever it comes to a little bit more needs, for example, production data collection system. So we need to collect data from the shop floor. We need to do some scheduling. We have inspection orders to be processed. All this is possible in SAP standard production with the Netronic add-on. The Netronic add-on is a lightweight add-on, a cloud-based solution. Sophia mentioned in the beginning, we will have a very short outlook on that product, even if it's not the key for today, but it's very interesting to understand what is possible with SAP standard production and a lightweight add-on. So you see we have an operation scheduling solution in there. It's browser-based, it's a role-based application, so it's really dedicated to the peoples on the shop floor and on the management positions. We can do time receipt, we can do a product management, so building products within the system is possible in there. But sometimes even this is not enough, and then you will have to go to Beas manufacturing. A Beas manufacturing is still sitting fully integrated in Business One, but it is replacing somehow functionality in SAP. So we have an own bill of material management, we have an own operation management, we have an extended material management, we are touching the batch determination, version and variant control is very important. So if you have changes in your products, all this is tracked in Beas as well. But to make this possible, we have to replace functionality. So the BOM is a Beas bill of material, again, integrated in the SAP database, but we do not use the SAP standard one. And the same happens with the MRP and the production orders. All this is real Beas stuff and not longer SAP stuff if you decide to go for Beas. Again, a very short outlook to Netronic manufacturing. Netronic manufacturing has currently 4 different products: build, schedule, produce, and inspect. Schedule is the newest solution and already also caused the change of the name. So before, these products have been known as cloud apps. Now they are known as Netronic Manufacturing Suite. Why? Because we acquired a company that is called Netronic. And Netronic is a company that is building scheduling solutions. So that's why this is called Netronic now, the whole suite. Talking about the products, build is a product where you can build up bill of materials, create products. We have a product management in there. Schedule is planning SAP production orders. Produce is executing these production orders. And inspect is coming into place whenever you have quality needs. I have prepared a very short video that is explaining what is going on there.
The Netronic Manufacturing Suite connected to your ERP processes. Let's start with the Schedule Management Board. Import data from ERP. Job sequence calculation. Resource view. Resource availability planning. Defining calendar exceptions with time details for defined resources. Planning in place. Netronic produce with the shop floor dashboard. Production order overview. Operation status. Auto to manual priority. Production order details. But how to get to the structure? Product management board in Netronic build. Product request overview. BOM creation, copied, imported or from scratch. Drag and drop operation management. Item structure viewed, including sub-assemblies. Product cost calculation. With full transparency through the whole structure. Back in produce to release the production order. produce operator for the shop floor data capture showing production order details. Instructions as a text and with linked documents. Stop production time recording. Quantities produced. Time for setup and production. Material used. Quantities or details changed. Double check the result. Inspection order connected with a link to Netronic Inspect operator. Attribute test with defect details or measurements within equipment. Jumping into the next sample. Netronic Inspect with inspection order dashboard for the quality manager. Check inspection test results. A Boyum IT solution.
So what we have just seen is on first hand the product development tool. So this is building up bill of materials, but that's not the core. It's about product creation. So we have a management board there where we can create the bill of material, create the operations, do a cost calculation for the product we have just created and release it to the system to execute it within the production. Production order creation is still in SAP. However, we can then do a scheduling on this production orders. So we have split the production order in different production steps called operations. And these operations are here scheduled and maybe moved from a group resource to a dedicated resource or even transferred to an alternative resource. Whenever the scheduling is done, we step into Netronic Produce, where we can release the production orders to the shop floor and then with the operator application execute the production orders. And finally, Inspect, where we have the inspection order creation and also the inspection order execution for the Inspect operator. Why am I talking about Netronic even if this presentation is about Beas? Currently, the Netronic solution is just for SAP standard production, but our clear target is to integrate these dashboards, this PDC solution also for Beas. So for you as a customer, it might be a multiple step process. You start with SAP standard production, you see, okay, I have limitations in there. I need to go for a shop floor solution. Then you select to go to Netronic manufacturing. And in the next step, and this should be happening within the next 2 years, we should be able to execute also Beas production orders from the Netronic suite. So you see, okay, I went better with the Netronic manufacturing suite, but there are still limitations. I need a full-powered production solution. So you switch to Beas, but you can stand in the same UI. You stand in the same PDC solution, and that's our target. But let's start talking about Beas manufacturing. As I mentioned in the beginning, Beas manufacturing steps in place whenever the SAP production is not enough. So to make this possible, we are replacing some functionality in there. We are replacing the bill of material management. We are replacing the production orders and the MRP. What we get is a full-blown production solution. We have a full resource management there. We have an APS solution, so you just saw scheduling. Scheduling is also a lightweight scheduling solution. APS is a full-blown scheduling solution. We have a multi-level bill of material. That's a big limitation in SAP standard production. You always have only a one-level bill of material. If you need to see multiple levels, you will have to jump from your main assembly into your sub-assembly to review your bill of material. And the same is needed for the production orders. So you always have splitted production orders for your main and your sub-assemblies. Within Beas, you can have a complete production order through the whole structure. So with all the production steps integrated. We have quality control in there, and we have people and also a maintenance management in Beas. So Beas is extending all processes along the production flow. That means we are not only touching production, bill of material, quality control, and so on. We also touch all processes from procurement over sales into finance. So all this is covered by Beas. This is bringing it a little bit more into detail. So we see again the functionalities within SAP Business One. Beas has core functionalities, so the MRP2, for example, is a core functionality. The manufacturing is a core functionality. Capacity planning itself, I'm not talking about the APS here, I talk about the core planning. This is all part of Beas standard functionality, but even Beas can be extended by some more functionalities like the maintenance, the PDC, so production data collection. We have an own shop floor solution for Beas as well, and many more things we can do within Beas. But instead of talking about that and showing it in a presentation, I want to show it in the real system. So I'm gonna start with switching to Beas. And we see here an SAP standard window. This is running on an SQL database because it's on my laptop. I want to be independent from any internet connection, so that's why I show it on SQL and maybe a little bit outdated design in SAP. But that's what it is, and maybe you all know already this main windows. What we see here in the background is, by the way, a B1 Up dashboard. You see I can switch here from dashboard to dashboard, and that's also possible from the browser. Here I'm on the web browser, B1 Up dashboard, so this is a little bit extended demonstration of what B1 Up can do. So we have a lot of dashboards in there. You can switch from dashboard to dashboard, and even if you have multiple databases, you can in here switch from database to database. Good. So on the left hand, you see an extended menu. There are different ways to show the functionality in Beas. I like the extended view because it's showing you a little bit the modules where we step in. So we're talking about business performance here. Business performance is a detailed finance tool, so to reallocate costs, do your pre-calculations for the next year, calculating resource costs and so on. This is possible with the business performance. We have a pre-calculation tool that is purely to do product calculation, but product calculation is done in multiple ways. So you have your standard batch calculation in the system, so you do a batch calculation maybe every month. Costs from your suppliers are changing, so you have to take this into account, do a recalculation for the next month in a batch. That's on first hand. But then you maybe have dedicated calculations for one customer. You have a bigger sales amount than expected, so you can create bigger production orders. You're reducing setup costs, maybe have to do some little changes. You can do the pre-calculation, and I will show that later, in a sales order, changing somehow a little bit the bill of material, but also changing times in there and maybe calculating on a bigger lot size. We have an external production module. External production means you're sending things out to get them painted, for example. And this needs to be managed as well. So you need to create the purchase order to do this painting. You need to provide maybe material you have in-house that needs to be sent to the customer. You want to keep track of this material. You get them back. You have to pay the bill. All this is managed by the external production. Capacity planning is the APS, so the advanced planning and scheduling. What is at least a planning board, as you have just seen, but also the first step of the planning, the maybe new sorting of production orders. So you have different priorities, you have different delivery dates, so production orders needs to be sorted in the right way. And this capacity planning is going into the operation level to reschedule every step of your production. Product configurator, you can think about this somehow like a car configurator. So maybe you're selling products that are standardized somehow, but at least every customer can decide some details from a certain product surrounding. And the product configurator is the right tool for that. So you have not to create 100 different options of your final product, maybe different colors, maybe different sizes. Talking about the Boyum example from the Perfion presentation, you have a mug in different colors, in different sizes. but you don't have to put every item into your system. You can just put the configurator in there, and the customer can decide in which way he wants to buy that product. Factory data capture is what it says. We have a possibility to capture all the production data, quality data, inventory movements on the shop floor, either integrated here in SAP Business One or as a web-based solution. Quality control steps in many places. Either it is a production-related quality control, so you do some quality inspections within your production process, but you can also do a quality control based on every SAP document. You do a batch split, okay, you do a batch split, you need to relabel your products because you created multiple batches out of it. This can be done and checked by the quality control. Complaint management we have in there as well. So if you need to track complaints from your customers, or you want to check also record complaints to your suppliers, that's possible with the complaint management. I'm starting into the presentation right, in the inventory tab in the item structure. The item structure is something you don't have in SAP Business One standard because, as I mentioned before, you have your bill of material, but that's always just a one-level view. What we have here is a multi-level view, and this multi-level view starts from your final assembly, goes through multiple sub-assemblies, showing purchase items, and you see this here in the symbols. So the box is a purchase item, the folder is an assembly. You have the different ways of production. Is it sales order related in the planning? Is it storage related in the planning? All this can be seen here by the symbols. These lines are blue. I know it's very hard to see here with the light that this is a blue line. Blue lines are items, but we also have the green lines in here. The green lines are the operations. So within one assembly, we are showing the items to be consumed, but also the operations that are consuming the items and the connection between the operation and the items. So you see the little number down here, that's green. I know that's again very hard to see in the slide. But taking this example here, we have 2 ingredients and 2 operation steps. This is showing us that we consume the first item with the first operation and the second item with the second operation. Why do we need that information? So if we have, for example, a machine building company that has very long run-through times, so building up the machine takes us half a year maybe. We still, even if this is one assembly that is running through half a year, we still want to know when we have to consume this specific purchase item in here, so that the purchasing department can order it to a certain time and not just in general, having it on stock half a year before. If we have it here connected between the operation, the connection between the operation and the purchase item, we know exactly when we need that item and can purchase it to the right time. What we see in here as well is the variant management. I talked about versions and variants before. Versioning is pretty clear to everybody. I think you have another version of an item, you have a renewed version, you have a run-out version. Maybe you also do some version management because of certain options in the item. So there are different reasons to go for a version. But important to know about a version is that version A is not the same like version B. There are differences, and we need these differences to know, and we are batch managed maybe or serial number managed, so we know exactly which item has which version. Variant control is something different. We can have multiple variants to produce our final assembly. So either we produce it in-house, for example, or we outsource our production. We decided by sales order, maybe by workload on the different resources, if we want to do it outsourced or insourced, and these are 2 different variants. We don't have to create different items for that. We can manage all the different variants within one item management. That's the variant control. What we see in here as well is a little bit the timing. So we see here a 30 and a 60. The 30 is the setup time to get the machine running, and the 60 is the production time. We see the details in the different windows, but talking about this is important because I talked about lot sizes before. Having a bigger lot size means my setup time will be calculated to a bigger size of final assemblies. What is reducing actually the product costs? Sometimes we need to know just for the calculation, we want to give the benefits right away to the customer, but sometimes we also want to keep the benefits out of a reduced setup time for us. So we produce in a bigger lot size because we can combine different sales orders, and we want to see where's the benefit for us to bring the setup time to multiple sources. Jumping into the item management shows that we also extend a lot of data in here. So you don't know these tabs in the top, bill of material, routing, configurator, quality control. This is all Beas functionality, but also most of the stuff in here is Beas functionality. So we decide about the breakdown method in here. Is this item order related or storage related in the planning? What does that mean? Order related means that you're producing this item always based on a sales order. We do not plan this production in the MRP. We say, okay, every sales order is leading to a production order. We can have multiple breakdown methods within one structure. So maybe you have a simplified version of an item that has no logo, maybe no color. You pre-produce it for multiple customers on stock. This production will be planned with the MRP because you're producing it on stock. Then you do the finalization of this product order related. So one customer is getting this item in red, the other one is getting the same item in green. That means that just the last step in your production is order related, or the rest is storage related. You can do the big size of the production storage related, very efficient production, and the finalization is just order related, so that you do not paint too many of these items in the wrong color. Then we have here the production unit of measure. Unit of measure can change within storage and production. Lot sizes, when we have a lot size of 100 and the customer is ordering 1000, we will break up the production order after 100 and go into another production line. So maybe you are always limited by the size of the batch of the raw ingredients in the production, or your machines are just able to do 100 items in one production stint. And therefore it makes sense to produce the first 100 on one date and the other 100 not right after, but 2 weeks later. Therefore you can set a lot size, and when you automate your production order creation, it will be splitted up after 100. Then you see here scrap. Scrap is very important if you're producing and you're producing scrap. Scrap is a very important piece of your production, and you will see scrap everywhere. An operation can lead to scrap, so the process itself is producing scrap. The raw ingredient itself can produce scrap. So you know you're ordering from your customer, but you know that you have to throw away 10% of everything you have ordered. So then the bill of material position is the reason for the scrap. Or you know your processes are not 100% perfect, so 10% of your scrap is the final item. You're producing, but the final items are not always good, so 10% of your final items are scrap, and these are the different reasons for setting scrap up. This is the final assembly. We can set it up in the bill of material, but also in the routing, so everything can lead to scrap. Let's have a look into the bill of material management. We see multiple lines in here. We have seen them before. We can get a rough overview about this line here. We have the quantity per each. We can have a relation in here, what means we can also create a recipe in here. So we have to create a recipe based on a specific bottle size, for example, and then your relation is to the bottle size and not to one each. You can play with these numbers. Here you see the connection to the routing position, and a little bit later in the window you also see here the VA, VB, VC. This is the connection to the variant. So if I say these both lines take effect in different variants, if I produce it in production variant A, I need the first line. If I produce it in production variant B, I need the second line. I just mark them here. Now this one is only used in variant A, this one is only used in variant B, and I have a clear connection and a super easy overview what I need in which variant production. In the routing, we are defining everything that is related to the production itself. What production steps do we have? Is there a quality control order connected? What time do we need for setup? We have again an overview here in the line, but we can jump into a detailed window. And in the detailed window, you see the operation information, but we see also a preset catalog. So we don't have to build all the informations within this routing position again and again for every product. We have similar products. All our processes are similar from product to product, and therefore we can create catalogs that decide which type of production is this. This is an operation, or this is in maintenance order, this is a QC order. And then we have the operation details itself. Here we have the packing, but it can also be an assembly or a processing. And based on the selection here, we select a preset resource, we have preset setup times, and so on. So all this is coming from my catalog. What does resource mean? I talked about resource management beforehand. I just jumped into the resource master data in here. And what I jumped in is a group resource. Resources can be single resources. Resources can be part of a group of resources, similar resources but not identical. But it can also be a group of identical resources. If I have a group of identical resources, and this can be machines, but this can also be people, so I have 10 people in my shop floor doing the same job, I actually don't care who is doing the job because everybody is doing the same job. And therefore I create a plannable group, and the system is clearly telling me which production order to assign to which guy, because we have this plannable group and the auto assignment of the final resource. Which resource we are in here is defined in here. Type of the resource, location, maybe a branch if I have different branches. Let me select another resource maybe to get all the options in here. 1 second. I select resource number 2. So we have here the branch, an employee planner. I mentioned that we are planning our production orders. So sometimes specific resources are planned by specific people. Not one guy is planning all the resources. Here we do the planner assignment. Is this part of the capacity planning? So we can also have infinite resources. We just say, place it on that resource. We don't care about it. We know that there is always enough capacity there. Or we say, okay, this is part of the planning. We need to take care about the planning. We have a pool limit in here. What does pool mean? If we talk about the production data collection, we can do it on the old-fashioned way. So we write down the results on a paper, give it into an office, and somebody is taking all the results into the system. We can do a lightweight digitalization. So we get a printout of the production order with different barcodes on it. You go to a terminal, scan into a process, start the process, finalize the process. But we can get rid of all the paperwork with the pools. A pool is, let's call it the summary of production orders or operations assigned to a specific resource. Then your operator is jumping onto the resource, seeing all the work for the day, and can execute the work. That's what the pool is meant with. We have efficiency in here, so we know our resource is not that efficient as it was before. We reduce it in here and don't have to touch any information within the processes to get into the details. We have all the scheduling set up in here, so that means is a resource available, do I have a vacation planning maybe for the people. We have all the cost setups in here, so if we do a calculation, we need to know about the cost. We have attachment management, documents, expendable materials, and then very important, maintenance and interruptions. If you do maintenance work, you need to take the resource out of your production planning for the maintenance, and you also need to know what spare parts maybe you need to order. All this is part of the maintenance planning. Interruptions are coming into place whenever a maintenance is not planned, something is broken, and you need to do a repair on it, you need to take it out of the planning. That's what the interruption management is about. Good, enough about this production order and setup stuff. I talked about quality control before, I talked about configuration before. The quality management is again based on production orders or documents, so every SAP document can lead to a quality control order. But let's step into the process.
Manuel,
Yep.
probably to go so deep.
Yeah, I'm going faster now. I told you that Beas is covering the whole process, not only the pure production. That means that we are jumping into the sales order as well. I talked about pre-calculation. Pre-calculation is a very important part. And pre-calculation can be done as a batch, but it can also be done within a sales order. What means we can change calculations. Where is my calculation in here? And the calculation is done on the full structure of an item, but also has to include your ways of calculating. So all your calculation schema is in here with indirect costing, direct costing, labor costs, sales and administration costs, and you maybe have different kind of customers which affect different ways of calculation schemas. All this is done in here based on presets, but also to be modified individually. So if you say this customer should have a lower sales price, maybe you reduce the cost of sales in there. Or you have to modify your bill of material a little bit, you can do this in here. Whenever you have finished your calculation, you lead to your sales order. When you have your sales order, you can start planning your production. You can either create the production orders right from the sales order, within the sales order, or here in the production with the sales order to production. With this function, you can create a huge batch of production orders based on all the sales information. All this is coming together in here. Or you go into the MRP and doing the MRP stuff as you are used to do it. But the MRP is including all purchasing stuff, all production stuff. But if you have to work with multiple warehouses, you can also plan the movements of items with the MRP. So you know that you need to move things from warehouse A to warehouse B on a certain time. You can plan all of this within here, the MRP.
In the MRP, does it calculate the life, the date of expiry of the part of the serial device?
We know that we can use an item. We know that which batch to be used as well. So we have a run-out batch. We should use it first.
Calculates the date expiry of the
Yes. It's taking this into account. And what you see in here in this list is that we can, that we can go into every kind of a document in here. So this MRP is calculating based on sales orders, based on production orders, but also production requests, forecasts, and so on. So all of these different sections are kept into here. If we need to create new orders, new production orders, new sales orders, we can either send a request into the purchasing department or create orders right from here based on weekly demands, bi-weekly demands, monthly demands, and the system is automatically filling up the numbers including multiples. So if we don't want to order one item, we also always want to order a pack of items. The system knows about it if we have set the master data, and we can create the orders from here. Whenever we are finished with the orders, production orders, purchase orders, move orders, we want to plan our resources. That's where the capacity planning is coming into place, which is on the first hand a sorting of production orders based on priorities, based on delivery dates, but also based on statuses. So is this order already released? Is this already planned? Is it printed? Is it fixed? All this information comes from here. We have here a sorting based on our delivery dates. So the delivery date is the reason for the sorting. In this overview, we see the status of the material. Is all material planned properly? Is it already on the warehouse? Or are we expecting it too late? We see the detail in here, and we can then move the order in the production order in this sorting down to produce it to a later stage because material is not there. Calculation can happen forward, so earliest possible finishing date, or backwards, latest possible start date. We see quantities in here, we can order from here, and if we now want to know about the details, we can jump into the Gantt view and see the connection of different operations in a nice overview, but also see the workload on the different resources. Second. So this is the connection of the different operation in a very clear way. And as soon as we select one of the resources, we see the workload on the resources. The nice thing about this screen here is that all this is movable, so I can move it horizontal to another start time, for example. But I can also decide to move an operation from one resource to another resource. And as I'm here moving it from a single resource to a group of resources, I can reduce the production time. So I divided the production time by 2 just by moving it to another resource. So all this is possible with the APS. And finally, we should be on a good production order planning. And whenever we are at a good production order planning, we want to execute the production orders. As I mentioned before, we can do it the old-fashioned way. We have printed out production orders. We want to type in the data just here in the production order. We jump into a window, open an operation, either by, again, scanning an operation or by going through the list here. I shortly open this one. And you see we have here the full structure in the production order as well. And we can do a right click here and do some time recordings, but that's usually not what you want to do. What you want to do is doing production order capture on the shop floor, and therefore we have here our, to jump on, we have here our terminal solution. The operator just logs in by scanning his card code and sees maybe a full overview of functionality, what you see here, or just the 1 or 2 application he needs for his job. For example, he wants to stamp in and stamp out whenever he reaches the factory. If you want to calculate the efficiency of your workers, you also need to know when is he at the factory. Therefore, we have here the attendance module in there. Then he's starting on a work order. So he's jumping about the pull report into the pull report, seeing just his own resource. This is the only resource he's allowed to execute. And on this resource is just one operation planned. Okay, very easy job. He knows what to do. He's doing some packing on this item. He already logged onto it and working on this production order since 48 days. That's a lot. And now he knows what to do, the quantities to be produced, the resources to use. He finished his work, he's stopping the work, reporting the duration of the time. Maybe he has to do some changes on it because the recording here was a fail. He can put the quantities he produced, the quantities he has scrapped, and do the completion, intermediate receipt, partial receipt. All this is possible from here. Same is possible in terms of quality control, item movements, item counting. So if you have an annual cycle counting, you can do this also from these terminals in here. Good. this is a rough overview of what Beas is doing. If you have questions, feel free to ask.
No question or a lot of questions? Huh?
More personal questions.
Okay.
Maybe one more thing to mention. I told you with the combination of Netronic and Beas in the future, we try to combine all our products. Whenever you have these extended production needs, that's good, go for Beas. Whenever you see additional needs into logistics, we also have solutions in there and try to integrate everything. So if you want to know something additional about other products, always feel free to ask TEKA and we will try to help out.
Production planning and all the things that you show us, a lot of complicated, with a lot of details in the background, it's covering all the parts of the company operations.
Exactly. And what is important to understand is, and that doesn't matter if we talk about Netronic or Beas or any other solution, you can always use it partially. If you don't need the total solution, just go for the things you need. But you see, you can always step a little bit deeper into the process if you need to.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.